Hello and welcome back to Chess Centers. Today we're going to be looking at one more game. Today we're going to be looking at a game from Viswanathan Anand, who is one of the most best Indian chess players. So today we are going to be looking at a game where Anand gets really lucky this time. So Anand is playing with the white pieces, whereas his opponent Grishak is playing with the black pieces. Anand starts with e4. Then we have c5 and we get into the Sicilian. So we have looked at previously another game from Sicilian, the freak attack. You can click the I button above to see that video again. So today we are going to be looking at this version where the check comes. Usually in this position, we see knight is in the c6 square and there's a simple pin. But in this variation this time, we see bishop is coming to d7. So here we have takes, and we have a normal Sicilian position. We have castles, knight to f6, and queen to e2. This is a very common line. We have knight c6, b3, and he tries to fianchetto. And here we have g7, and both of them are fianchettoing their bishops the same diagonal. So now we have c4, and here black thinks white's fianchettoed bishop is way better, so he wants to trade the bishops. So he plays knight to h5, and now trade is forced. If he does not trade, then he can only play something like bishop to c3 later, where it will be traded again. But then if we move it out of this diagonal, this rook is hanging, so we have takes, knight c3, and here we can see this a very rare visual where this knight is fianchetted. Usually we see a fianchetted bishop, but then first time, like very rarely, we see the knight being fianchetted, as in this example. Now we have uh, king castle. So here we have a few moves just to try to get the pieces active, like this queen over here threatening of queen h6 later in the game, and maybe like queen h6 and knight g5. But then the thing is, right now if you see, like in this position, if you play queen h6, then the problem is we have f6, and knight g5 is not possible. So we have d3 and f5. Now we have knight taking the very beautiful outpost in d5, which is, we can say, the octopus knight or the octagonal knight, because he is controlling all of these squares with one single knight, and these all squares are really irritating for the black pieces, because they really need to go to those pieces. Like rook to f6 might be possible, and trying to do something like defending the pawn or something later in the game, but then now we defend this square, and also the queen cannot come to any of these squares. So now it's really irritating for the black player. So now we have f4 basically trying to close the position, and we have knight to e6. Again, black is also trying the same thing with bringing the knight to d4 later in the game with any of these two knights, but this knight would be stronger because there are two knights. So even if this knight were to take this knight, again we have this knight takes, and like for example, like some move like h3, then we have this knight comes over here, and then we have takes, and then we can just simply take with this knight, and we still are having a good knight over here. So this was the exact plan. He plays g5, threatening, sorry, yeah, we have b4, again trying to kind of open the position and try to bring a better place for the queen. And then we have g5. Now we have takes, and h3. This move is very basic, just trying to stop the idea g4 and trying to displace this knight and then later come here. So the two knights very strong are over here, two very strong knights. So then we have h5, the pawn push, and trying to do again g4. So we have knight to h2, and we have queen to g7. Queen to g7 again, just trying to go to the king side and try to push all the pawns, because right now the knights are really mobile and this knight can simply go to the queen side. So like something like this and this, and then the queen, this knight would be in the king side, and this knight also can move very easily with like g4 and then coming to here and something like that. So right now black is really trying to do attack on the king side. So we have rook to f7 and rook f to b1. So now the thing is, white is trying to attack on the queen side, whereas the black is attacking on the king side. So now we have to d4 as planned, and rook b2. So then we have rook to d8, where we are at. He's just trying to do something. The position looks pretty drawish right now. So we have queen to d1 and rook to d6, a3, king h7, rook a2, and right now the position is like very drawish unless one either of the players try to do a pawn break in any of the sides. So we just continue the same moves. This is like dead draw, like the Atacama Desert of chess. So we can see no player really has an advantage, and they both are really just moving around, not knowing what to do. Now here, black also does not know what to do. He's just playing king from d6 to d8 and back to f8, something like that. And then now black gets an idea. He thinks he's just considering an option of bringing the king all the way to somewhere like b7 and trying to attack from there. So later we see king g8, king f8, and Anand is really not knowing what to do. He's just moving around the pieces aimlessly, trying to wait for Gushak's king to move all the way here. And we have takes. Here, black decides that it's time for a breakthrough. So the thing is, why he moved the king from all the way from h7 to a7 was that he wanted to attack on the king side. If he's attacking on the king side, then white might try to open up the position. Later on, white will try to attack the king if it's on the king side. So white just decides to black just decides to bring it to the queen side and then attack the king side. So we have knight takes and this beautiful sacrifice. Rook takes g4. So now white is really, Vishak is really trying to get good attack. And then we have knight to c7 and queen to g8, g6. So now knight b5 check, and white is just trying to get an exchange of knights and then trying to open up the position in the queen side. So now we have rook g3, rook b2, sorry, rook 1 to b2, and then knight takes d3. So now both the rooks are under pin and under fork. And then we have rook d2 just to attack the knight, and we have queen to e4. The pawn is gone, and looks like Anand is kind of losing. Like black is dominating the position here, and then now we are threatening the knight on d3. We have c4 just to defend the knight, and then we have rook takes, pawn takes, and it seems like black is totally winning. Black actually missed a mate in mate over here, like mate in the a few moves. Something like queen to h4 would have worked. Like if we have the checkmate threat of queen to queen to h2, sorry, and then queen to h1. So Now, if he moves like this, we have mate in one, like this, and if white moves something like to defend this square, so now, like if he takes with the rook, we have again checkmate. So there's no real defense against this queen to h4. Grishak would have won definitely in this line, but then it was a blitz game, so Grishak missed it. It wasn't his fault. So we had queen to d4 check, and then king to f2, and then we had queen to f4, and then we had queen to f3. Now the thing is, if black were to take this rook, white would just give perpetual checks on the f seventh and eighth rank, perpetual checks, and then over here black king would just keep on moving from a7 a8 b7 b8 or c7 c8. He cannot escape these six squares. So Grishak takes. Here Anand actually was about to move queen to f7, but then his hand went a little too far in this move, and he went queen to f8. And by that time, Grishak thought that queen will come to f7. So he touched the black king with his hand. So he had to play a move with his king, and he decided that if even if he moves his king with his king, he had to move his king because of touch piece. And if he moves, we'll have a perpetual check and draw. So here black just Anand offered draw, and Grishak accepted. Grishak should have not touched his king so fast and should have played something like queen to e1 checkmate, but then Grishak missed it because of his silly move. He went a little too fast on this move. So that's it guys for today. Hope you enjoy this video. Hope you like this game. You can This was really a weird and awkward game of Anand Viswanathan Anand, and hope you guys enjoyed this video, and subscribe to our channel for more such videos. Peace out guys. Bye.